Hi everyone, this is lesson 2 about nutrition, but this one is all about food tests. This is the practical. By now you should have read through the PowerPoint. If you haven't done that already, stop and do that now so that you understand what we're about to do. We're going to take you through how you can test for all the nutrients in your food and the different tests that you need to do that. The first one we are going to test is a nutrient called starch.
Have you had another go?
Okay, the first food group we are going to test is something called starch. Now, we think we will probably find starch in things like crisps and in things like biscuits. So firstly, what we have to do is get a sample of these. You only need a little bit, and pop it in this thing, which is called a spotting tile. And we'll get a biscuit as well. Have a little look at that, a digestive biscuit. The test for starch is nice and simple. You use this chemical that is called iodine. Now, if I take the iodine out, you can see just on its own that it is quite browny colour, like a yellowy browny colour. The positive result, if there is starch in these foods, is that yellowy browny colour should turn like a deep blue black. So all we have to do is do a little spot of iodine on these foods. Let's do the biscuit first. Let that work. And yeah, you see it's going very, very dark there. And that is definitely a positive result. That is blue black. Let's do it again with the crisp. What are we going to find out? And a nice blue black colour again, really, really dark. That means there is definitely starch in those foods. I'm going to write down the test here. You should pause the video now and take some notes once I've written this down. So the test is iodine, and the result is it goes from brown to blue/black. Pause the video now and make sure you've written down the test and the result for starch.
Okay, so we've done our first test for starch, which was iodine. We are now moving on to biuret. So as you can see, this is a blue, fairly clear liquid. Obviously we are dealing with chemicals here, so we do have to be careful. And this is going to be our test for protein. So we are going to be testing some milk, everyday milk, and we are going to first of all take a test tube. We are then going to add a few drops to our test tube of milk. Let's put a little bit more in with that. This is called a pipette. So remember those key words you need: pipette, test tube, beaker. I'm then going to use the dropper to add some biuret. If we have a positive result, so if there is protein present here, this should turn a lilac purple colour. So you can see it's just starting to change colour now. I'm going to add a little bit more. Oh, and you can see that turning nicely. I'm going to give that a little shake. Put my hand on the top. And there you go. We have a positive result there. So the test for protein is biuret, and it turns it a lilac purple colour. So let's write that one down.
Just want to point out, guys, while Miss Nixon is writing this one down, that because the milk is white, it's given us quite a light purple colour. You might get a deeper purple if it wasn't such a light thing that we were testing in the first place.
So a positive result for biuret is it goes lilac purple colour.
Let's focus on that. Why are we not focusing? Hi guys, technical issues. We will make sure this is somewhere as well so that you've got all of these written down. But that is the test for protein. Okay, the next test that we're going to do is the test for fat. To test this, we're going to use some milk, as we can probably assume that's got fat in it, but let's find out. To use the test for fat, you're going to put a little bit of your substance that you're going to test in a test tube. And the test for fat is to use ethanol. Now, ethanol is very, very flammable. You have to be careful with it. It is essentially an alcohol.
What does flammable mean, miss?
It means it's very easily going to catch fire. It's going to be a bad fire, so watch out for that. You're going to put the ethanol in with your food substance to be tested and give it a good shake. Now, the positive result for the fat test is that you get what is called an emulsion. That means you get this cloudy substance, and you can see that that's stuck all around the edge of the test tube there. But what if that had happened anyway? We're just going to do the test again, but not with ethanol. We're just going to put some water into the milk and see if there's a difference there. So we've got our milk again. If we just shake up the milk normally, you can see that we haven't got that same result. Let's add some water in just to see if it's what happens anyway when you thin the milk out. We'll pop some water in. Give it a good shake, and we can see that we haven't, it's not sticking to the sides of the test tube like the first one did. So this is a positive test result for fats, and this is what we call a control. We're making sure that it wouldn't have happened anyway. So the test for fat is ethanol, and you have to shake it up. The result is you get a cloudy white, what's called an emulsion.
What is ethanol, miss?
Ethanol is an alcohol, and it's a very strong chemical, and it is very, very flammable, as you can see.
But you cannot drink it.
You cannot, you do not want to drink it. You don't want to drink anything in the lab. You do not want to drink the ethanol. Absolutely not.
Okay, so this is our fourth food test. We are going to be testing for sugar, which is part of our carbohydrates group. Benedict's is blue, and if there is sugar present, we are hoping it is going to go an orange, possibly a red colour if it is high in sugars. So we are going to be testing biscuit here, which we have crushed up using a pestle and mortar, and we are going to also be testing milk to see if there's any sugars in that. So maybe you want to just pause the video here and have a little guess, set yourself a hypothesis, which is an idea to test as which one you think is going to have the most sugar in. So what we need to do, we are going to add a few drops of Benedict's to each of these. So I'm going to use 2 droppers full, and the same in the milk. You will probably notice that to my side is a water bath. So actually, technically, this is a beaker with boiling water in it. We've been heating this up for about 5 minutes, and now it's ready to go, because this is the only food test that actually requires heat as well. So what we're going to do, we are now going to add these 2 test tubes. So we've got a biscuit here with some Benedict's in. We are going to carefully add this to our water bath. We've now added our Benedict's to our milk, so obviously the 2 colours have mixed. This is now blue colour. Remember, we are looking for a positive result here to turn this orange or red if it is high in sugars.
Right, guys, I just want to point out how important it is to have this in a water bath, because you can actually see in the milk how the top bit here hasn't been heated, and we just haven't had that colour change that we need. So it's so important when you're doing Benedict's test to remember that you have to heat it as well. So I think we're ready. Are we ready to talk about our results, miss?
Oh, I think we can leave it a little bit longer, miss.
Leave it a little bit longer.
Because we've shown a positive result already, and this should still change a little bit more. A couple more minutes.
Let's see where we get to.
Here's our results. So this is the final result for our milk. So obviously it started off blue and it has turned quite a bright orange colour there. So plenty of sugar there in our milk, which may surprise some of you. You've got the biscuit, probably not as surprising that biscuit, a digestive, something like that, would contain quite a lot of sugar. Although it's not as red as it possibly could be with some foods, possibly sweets and chocolate. So, you know, if we were going to do this experiment again, first of all, I would have put more water in our water bath. Secondly, I would have probably added more fluid, more Benedicts to this one as well. And also it would be nice to have a look at something that we know is definitely very high in sugars, like something like sweets or some kind of dessert, to really get a real bright red result in the Benedicts. Okay, so we've got two helpers here today, and they are testing Wotsits, Walker's Crisps and Digestives. They are going to be doing the iodine test on this. Obviously you guys already know that this is going to go from brown to a purple black if there is a positive test. The boys reckon it's going to be the digestive. Was that right with most?
Wotsits.
Right, you think digestive?
No,
you
I think Wotsits.
You think Wotsits. Okay, so you're saying digestive. Okay, so let's do, you can do maybe 5 and then you can do 4. We're going to do more than one here because obviously when we do a test, we like to test it more than once to give a valid result. Right, so we've got a positive there. That's it, keep going. So very clear that the Wotsits do contain starch. So far, what are we thinking? That, more than that?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah? So that's all the crisp done. Now we're going to test the biscuit. So it's taking longer to soak in, so maybe we could have crushed it up. Maybe we should have done the same on all of them. So what one, boys, do you think is... Wotsits?
Yeah.
Certainly reacted the quickest, didn't it?
Yeah.
However, if we look, there is a positive result on all of them, and potentially the crisps. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well done, boys.
Thank you very much.